Welcome to Towards the Storm, where we navigate through the turbulent waters of business, Bitcoin, and all the other BS that comes with it. Give it up for your host, Thomas Gaffney. He is here to help you stay ahead of the curve in the ever-changing world of finance and technology. Each week, we'll dive into the latest news, trends, and insights from industry experts to help you make sense of the chaos and come out on top. So buckle up, because we're heading straight into the storm.
Yo, how's it going today, everyone? My name's Thomas Gaffney. I'm your host, and this is Towards the Storm. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. This is where we talk about business, Bitcoin, and bullshit. Today, I have with me a really cool guest. I've been wanting to talk to him for some time. His name's Jazzer, and he's been behind the project of DefiPlaza. So really excited to have you, Jazzer. How's everything going? Tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, doing all right. Thanks for the invite, man. So, short introduction maybe. I'm Jazzer. I've been in the Radix community for quite a while, 2013. So that's 10 years, almost. Right.
Wow. 10 years?
In that time, almost. Yeah, it's because it's not yet the end. It was the end of 2013. So
wow.
And in that time, I've met lots of people, lots of good people. It's quite amazing what kind of crowd Radix brings. Yeah, really good people there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Been to Dan's place a couple times as well back in the day. Worked on the white paper and the tech with him. When it was really early.
Wow.
On the
so you're a true
iterations.
OG, like as OG as it gets.
Well, not there's people who've been here longer, but I've been fairly from the beginning. Yeah.
For most people that have come into the space since it has exploded, at least, you'd be considered a very OG.
Yeah, so most people in crypto, I guess, are only since 2017 or the 2021 NFT hype, right? So, everyone always says I'm in it for the tech, but I'm really in it for the tech, right? So, and have been since forever. Because I don't trade, I don't, bother with ICOs and all that stuff, right? So just for fun, I bought some NFTs on Radix just to play with the community, but nothing like that. Yeah,
that's cool though.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
cool.
having been, having been in crypto since 2013, I should have been able to retire a long time ago, but not yet, man. Not yet.
I mean, I feel like that's almost a myth for most people. I mean, even back then, even if Bitcoin was at 1,000, right? And say you put $5,000 in Bitcoin, you would have had to hold it all the way up and then sell it. You know what I mean? And so, like, I totally get that too. But there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh yeah, I crushed it" and all this stuff. But there's a lot that goes into that, because I've been in since 2016, and I feel like I've missed a lot too myself. Because kind of almost 2012, my buddy he bought some Bitcoin. We made couple $1,000 on it and then sold it, and then so it's just like, oh, cool, you know what I mean? And so that's just kind of the name of the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what can you do? Yeah.
Oh, definitely not.
Anyway, it's still a very nice hobby, right? And it hasn't made me any poorer. So, but I still have a day job, so that's definitely what pays the bills and keeps the lights on while we wait for Radix to explode, right?
Exactly, and that's what we're waiting on. Hopefully, it's coming soon. That next bull market, everyone's really looking forward to. But I mean, we've got a tough road ahead. You know, it's not set in stone. We've got some exciting things coming up with Babylon, and once that's launched, that's gonna be really cool. And then some hype with then everyone's gonna be talking about Xi'an, right? And so there's always more work to do. There's always bigger steps, and we've got some macroeconomic headwinds in front of us, but things are just plugging along. I mean, you've been through, how many bear markets have you been through now?
So 2013 was a peak, right? After that, there was a couple of years of crypto winter. Then 2017, another peak. Then another couple of years of winter. Then 20 and 21, another peak, and again a couple of years of winter, right? So I guess this is the third. Yeah.
Third? That's cool though.
You know, I don't trade, so I don't buy, I don't sell, right? So it's
it's nothing for you. You're for the tech.
No, so it's I have to say though that it does make it much more difficult to launch projects, right? So we launched DefiPlaza on Ethereum when the going was good. So DeFi summer, I got into DeFi as well, learned about what that is, what it does, how it works, why it is so cool, right? And then after that, saw an opportunity to on Ethereum to launch an exchange that is cheaper and more efficient than anything else that's out there. And we did that, and that was still when Ethereum and crypto was on the way up in the middle of 2021. And then at the end of 2021, everything collapsed again, and ever since it's just been it's just much more difficult to attract capital, right? And liquidity, which is the lifeblood of DeFi.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and honestly, all that free money that was going around, and that's where I was talking about like these headwinds, right? Because we were in a time of like easy money, and now it's slowly turning into a time of hard money, right? Like because most governments, reserve banks are pulling money out of the system, right? They're making money more expensive to borrow. Inflation's going crazy. So it has been a little bit difficult to get those retail users and that retail liquidity at least going forward, just because of all these kind of macroeconomic trends. So you said you launched DefiPlaza. So what kind of got you started with that? How'd that go? And you said you started on Ethereum?
Yeah, so it's live on Ethereum.
Uh-huh.
So we started on Ethereum in 2021, and what got that going was me diving into Uniswap v2, which was by then the latest version. And I thought the code for that is just the whole code base is so elegant, it's so clean, it's so beautiful, right? So it shimmers. It's just you get this gold rays from the sun if you wear. It's just that is quite a masterpiece that they put out there. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I thought, okay, this is the best you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw in another project that they were also doing swaps, right? And they were cheaper. And of course, gas costs were massive, absolutely insane in when the DeFi was spiking. And I thought, hey, it just never occurred to me that even though it is so elegant, right, it's not built for being cheap. And then I thought, hey, maybe there's an opportunity there. What if I make something that is really geared for making the best possible or the cheapest possible swaps that you can do, right? So I really dug into what makes cost on Ethereum. Yeah, and then you look at all the unit operations of how much is one addition, how much is one multiplication, how much does everything cost, and look at how it is built up, so that the cost table. And well, then you really see where does the cost come from, and the cost comes from anything that is modified in state, essentially. That's making the bulk of the cost if you don't do any really massive computations. So I really tried to be very scrappy with bit space and hammer some variables together in one variable, and then save some space and do less writes. And I made something that I still think is the cheapest you can get on Ethereum for a swap. So that's still out there.
That's great. That's really cool. How did that come in? Because can't you get Radix on that? How does that intertwine with Radix at all?
Sorry, the exact question. Can you get Radix on there?
Yeah,
or...
yeah.
So the Ethereum is its own blockchain, Yeah, so it is completely separated from the Radix world, which is its own ledger. So what we have on Ethereum is XRD, the wrapped version of Radix. But other than that, there's nothing representing Radix or on Ethereum, right? So it's completely disjoint. So even this is just me seeing an opportunity on Ethereum at the time, right? This is not with a larger agenda for Radix in mind or anything. Sure. And I just thought, okay, let's give it a go, see if it works or not, right? And we got integrated into the 1inch aggregator, which is generating the vast majority of the trades, and that is just offering across all the exchanges on Ethereum the best deal, right? And then it can route like 80% here and 10% there, just like we have on Radix now. We have Astrolescent and we have DSOR, who also aggregate all the liquidity sources that are available on Radix and find the best deal for the customers. Yeah, so that works. Yeah, but our unique selling point here is that we have the cheapest swaps. Yeah. And unfortunately, in 1inch, the way that they calculate how the cost for the gas happens, right, is not compatible with the way that we implemented our exchange, right? I would have to do it again with the whole and essentially gear it towards 1inch's implementation, and then you would really get the benefit of that in the 1inch offering. Yeah. So now, even though we are the cheapest, 1inch doesn't recognize us as the cheapest internally. Yeah. Which it has been a headache, and we've been working on seeing what we can do, but it's just very difficult.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a struggle for us. Yeah. But it's live. It works. It's been going. We've generated nearly 100,000 in fees now.
Oh wow, so, that's awesome.
That's not nothing.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely not nothing. That's a lot. I mean, especially with a startup like Plaza type thing that you're having, and like you said, did you raise any capital for this project, or you bootstrap it, or?
No. This is just This is a garage, an attic type of project. Yeah, so it's just a couple people having fun building something.
That's really cool. That's absolutely really cool. How big is your team?
We are 3, all from the Netherlands. We go way back. That's the core team. So there's all devs. We have DJ Treble, who is a full stack dev, and then we have. UI guy who is the UI front end developer, and then myself, and I take care of the smart contracts, and that's the core team. And then we have an advisory board as well as a community, right, who help us give advice and help us get things done externally as well.
That's great. Cool. So
there's another handful of people there. Yeah.
Nice. So I saw recently, are you guys working with Astrolescent now? I saw something about the DeFi and Astrolescent working together. What's that all about? What are you guys working on that?
Yeah, so we have a partnership with Astrolescent, and we are looking at basically sharing our code bases and our offerings in a way that we are building a larger, let's say, community. It definitely make sure that we have a maximum coverage of what we think are the key things that need to be represented in a DeFi solution, right? And have no overlap. Right, so that we have maximum synergy, and what we are looking at is for Astrolescent, hosting their liquidity, and using our algorithms to support them. Yes, that's the first thing that we are looking at. But we have other things also. I'm not gonna I'm gonna keep them
secret.
Yeah, keep them off the table now. Yep.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So, but that's really cool. So being an exchange, with all the recent kind of SEC enforcement actions, right? So at least in the United States side, is that anything that's been worrying you? There's been some projects and companies that are either getting SEC enforcement actions from exchanges, or that has led other people to kind of geo-block the United States. Is that something that you all are potentially looking at in the future, or you're a little bit worried about? How's that go?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely on the table.
Yeah.
We're discussing this. We have not, as of yet, geo-blocked the United States. However, we are also in our current CDEX, right? So the decentralized exchange, which is something that shouldn't exist, but just the way that we are doing stuff on Radix while we are waiting for the smart contracts. All the liquidity that is on there is our own. So we do not have we're not a custodian for other people's liquidity, which we believe already makes it a lot less likely that we would be targeted for this. But still, there's trading, of course. So we're still figuring it out. Let me put it like that. What is required of us? Of course, we're not located in the US, but we might want to travel at some point to the US, right? So, yeah, for sure. Of course, you want to be compliant, but being such a small operation that we have, we are likely to follow the larger players.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Is probably what we will also do.
Just kind of see how everything unfolds, because that's what a lot of kind of people are doing. Just because enforcement, it's kind of wild, right? Like over the time since like kind of Bitcoin was implemented, the SEC only really has 144 enforcement actions, right? And most of those were originally targeted towards the DAOs and then towards the ICOs. But now they're really starting to go after these exchanges, right? Like KuCoin has one. Coinbase even got not an action against them, but they got a couple letters towards it. Kraken got one for their staking pool and all that. So it's something that's kind of especially for the States, kind of troublesome for the health of the DeFi space in general. And as you've been in this space for a while, have you how do you all intend to approach that? Like, do you see how this could really impact your business? Like, is there a lot of business coming from the States, or is it predominantly in Europe? How's that?
That's actually, so most of our business currently is coming from Astrolescent, right?
Oh, okay.
On who are based in the States, but who calls into their API, I don't know, of course. So you can be anywhere. So we don't have direct sight of who those are. On Ethereum, which is our larger exchange, right? Liquidity wise, much larger. We are fully decentralized in terms of exchange, because everything is on smart contracts. It's all trustless. We don't have access to anything.
Oh, wow.
The only thing, of course, is that we run the user interface, for which we might shield or geofence the States, but even then, they could still, from the States, you can still call the smart contracts. So that's still not blocking access per se, but it is making it more difficult. And I think probably that is what might be required down the road, but we're looking at Uniswap and the other really large players that are much more likely to be targeted first, to also move first on this on the regulatory front. Yeah.
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 That's cool. So I know Astrolescent is building a stable coin. Do you guys have any involvement in that with assisting on that? How's that work?
No, so one of our team members is also a team member of Astrolescent, but we as a team do not have involvement in that as such. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's really cool.
I mean, we have we have discussions with them about it, and of course, there's flow of information back and forth, but we are not as DefiPlaza involved in the stablecoin project.
Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. That's cool. So on one of your questionnaire things, one of the questions is to what do you attribute your success? And you said patience. Expand on that.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, right? So 2013, that takes some patience, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been sometimes hard to keep the patience, yeah. For this is for Radix, right? So I got tired of of waiting at some point, but really hats off to the team for the way they've been handling themselves in the last couple of years, because they have been grown themselves into such a professional organization with a really good roadmap and hitting the milestones. Sure that there are some delays, right? So here it's a couple months, there's a couple months maybe, but there's no it's not like before, like we're gonna launch in February 2014, and then oh no, actually it's gonna be September, and then instead of September it's gonna be oh no, it's gonna be 2016, right? So it was just really because everything was still so small and so under development, right? And the ideas were changing for the whole foundation. Everything was shifting. And if you have ever watched the interviews with Dan, right? So he really started from scratch a couple of times. So he took everything he built, threw everything away, started from scratch, and and that's just your heart sinks when you hear that, right? So you're like, oh no. Yeah. So you really need patience, and that's also for my own crypto journey, right? So I never was like with the little bit crypto that I had, right? I didn't sell, right? I just hold it. I just held it, right? And I'm like, okay, there's no rush. There's no prices up, prices down, right? And even if price goes up a lot, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, it might come down tomorrow, and might go up again, But what worked for me is just not being too stressed about it. Yeah. And then also, of course, being okay with your time management, because that's you can sink in a lot of time, or you can sink in not a lot of time. You need a certain amount of time to keep the projects moving, but also you don't want to kill yourself, right? And I do have I have a family, and I have a day job, and so there's a balancing act going on there. But I think we're managing quite well, and we're making nice progress on the Radix code base to be ready for the Babylon launch. That's how we are managing that, and
awesome.
Looks good.
Yeah. So what's that process like? So because RCnet, right, that came along. What exactly is that? Is that because everyone talks about it? Is it like a blueprint of Babylon? Is it like an actual part of it, and there's uploading? How does that work?
So RC stands for release candidate, right?
Okay.
So that's the original ID behind it. So I guess you would have alpha, beta, then a release candidate, and then an actual release. That was and the way Matt views it, beta net should already be basically feature complete, And now what they said with RCnet is, and you know, the launch of Scripto 0.9 is that whatever you build right now will still work on Babylon. Yeah, so no more breaking changes to the code. That's what RCnet means. And already, they also released the SDKs for the whole stack now. So you can do you can do development of things that, as you would use them, in Babylon with the personas and everything.
That's great. With the personas, you said?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, with the wallet, right? And
that's what my next question was going to be is so the wallet. What kind of features, since you've been around forever and you're kind of an OG in terms of for a lot of people, right? The Radix Wallet, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really cool. What makes you kind of like bullish on Radix? What makes you want to continue to build on Radix in terms of that wallet? Because that's something that I feel is really lacking in the Web3 space is the mobile experience. It just hasn't really worked. And so in my opinion, this new wallet that Radix is bringing around, I think it could be really exciting and really cool and something different for than has currently existed.
Yeah, so I there's nothing I know there that you guys don't know, right? So we're on the same level of knowledge, same frame of reference there. But I definitely agree that what hampers Web3 development right now is user interface, or not user interface, user experience, right? And just working with seed phrases is just a nightmare, and the whole authorization flow with MetaMask and connecting the wallet, and then signing something that you have no idea what you're signing, all that stuff is just not okay for the average Joe. Yeah, so it's okay for geeks who don't mind and who really want to use and enjoy using the tech and are forward thinking, right? But if you're just an average user, that's just not good enough. And then if you look at the RadFi videos that came out end of last year, right? That's just such a quantum leap in user experience that they are presenting there with the personas, and everything just makes sense. The smart accounts and also the phone as an authorization device, right? Where that holds your keys and the way that you can then interface with a decentralized application, a dApp, yeah, and then select which kind of information you want to expose to that dApp. It's just fantastic. It's really good. So I really look forward to see what other people are doing with this, right? As well as, of course, using it and building on it myself. But it must be, once Babylon drops, there must be really nice and exciting things that we can, pretty much immediately, hopefully, start seeing coming from that.
I like it. That's really cool. That's what I'm kind of excited too, right? Like, I really want to see kind of everything that's coming together, because right now, like, traditional finance, in my opinion, is just easier to use, is more comfortable. People feel more comfortable with this. Why people haven't gone towards the main adoption of DeFi, right? But also, and a lot of people keep saying this, the space is still very new. It's still new tech. It's still being developed. And in terms of interfaces that I have used, what the Radix wallet has put out is leaps and bounds ahead of the rest. And so I'm really, really hoping that this thing launches and goes seamlessly. And I'm really excited to see kind of what is out there and what can be built out there, because if Scripto is really this great language, which everyone says it is, and which everyone's kind of an experience, I'm really excited.
It is.
It is. You expand upon
it. It is, yes.
Why is it?
I mean, I built on Ethereum.
Yeah,
I built on Ethereum. I know how even if you try really hard, how easy it is to screw up, right? Let alone if you have bad intentions. Yeah, so it's very easy to make something that looks good and is just nefarious in some way. Yeah, but the way that the whole language is set up and the state machine and just tokens and all the EVM, yeah, the Ethereum virtual machine, with the smart contract communicating and the risk of creating loops where you can revisit the same contract a couple times in the same transaction, which is something that you really have to be conscious and aware of, because it can create really weird things that you didn't design for. Yeah. But yeah, it's really easy to make a mistake. Even very high profile teams, very well funded teams, make mistakes. Yeah, and it costs hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars from all the exploits.
Yeah.
Even by the top teams. Yeah. So bridges get hacked all over the place. Smart contracts get that whole liquidity, they just leak. They found a critical error in a time lock contract, right? From Open Zeppelin, and it's just that had been there for years, right? And it's
someone just found it.
And these are the top teams, right? Or the top projects. Yeah, it's just it really is mind-boggling. And then if you see Scripto, coming from that, and then working with Scripto is far more intuitive, and being Rust-based, just going from something which is EVM-based, right, which is closer to JavaScript, to a Rust-based language, you get so much in already from the language itself, right? So overflow protection is in there, and all kind of type checking and execution checking, and it's just impossible if you do a switch statement or match statement. You can't miss any of the cases because it checks that you do them all, right? And
yeah,
that already gives you a lot. And then Scripto on top of that, being asset-based, it's now impossible to make screw-ups where you just accidentally create extra tokens or accidentally forget to put them in the right place, right? And then they just disappear. With those kind of things could happen, right, on Ethereum. And all that is now impossible because it's asset-based, which also, just from that, gives a lot of security.
Wow.
As well as ease of development. Yeah, so really enthusiastic about that as well. Yeah.
That's great. So and so leading to that, you said you're enthusiastic about. What are you most excited for in terms of Web3 and kind of the future of it? If someone who's been there and has seen tokens come and go, projects come and fail, what are you most excited about in, say, like the next year to 2 years for Web3?
So way in the beginning, there was Bitcoin and nothing else, right? So it was, crypto was Bitcoin. Then in 2017, with all the ICOs, the ICO craze, it was the catchphrase or whatever you want to call it, that was being thrown around back then was, blockchain, not Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people thought we have transcended from Bitcoin, and now everything is about blockchain. And as long as your project is doing something with blockchain, you're on the right path. Yeah, and companies were all jumping into it, and it was crazy times. But then that turned out to be a hype, and it imploded, and everybody stopped doing blockchain. Right. So after that, it again became Bitcoin, not blockchain.
Yeah,
it's really, really interesting to see. Then in 2020, 2021, it became Web3, not Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Web3 being decentralized and ownership based, yeah, but mostly critically decentralized, yeah, and all that's nice, and I truly believe in it too, right? So I think this is the right path. I think we as a society, right, should move in that direction. It's just with the tools and the platforms that we have, now the user experience and the developer experience is just, well, trash, right? When you compare it, absolute garbage when you compare it to Web 2, which of course has a lot of time to mature, as well as just fundamentally easier from a technological perspective, but even just maturing the tools and the software that we have right now on the platforms that we have that are currently serving Web3 is just not going to get us there, right? We just need fundamentally better tech, and I believe that Radix has that, which you see in the the crypto, and as well as all the things that they presented at RadFi with the Radix engine and the smart accounts and all that stuff. It's just so well thought out and really purpose built from the ground up, for scalability, as well as having something to do with that scale, right? So attracting people. Ease of use, right?
The ease of use
and richness of features. Ease of use and richness of features. Really.
I like that. And I think that's a common theme, right? Because so when I was at Consensus, everyone was talking about a lot of the stuff that Radix is already doing. They're like, oh, we need better interface. Oh, we need personas. Oh, we need have custody. We need this. And Radix is kind of almost ahead of the game on this next turnaround, right? And so it's really exciting to see, because in my opinion, it could be almost a perfect storm, right? Because Radix wasn't ready during the last bull market, right? And so now, so they didn't get all the hype that a lot of other projects did, like Solana, ADA, all the other layer ones, right? And so, but the next turnaround, like everyone is looking for that UI, UX experience. Everyone is looking for that better tech, that better technology for the next wave, for the next run up, right? Because there's going to be one, I mean, Web3 is not going anywhere. It might be a little harder, or there might be a little more regulatory compliance that you have to get to, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be around. And so I'm really excited to see that, because it's like over the next couple years, once the macroeconomics starts turning back around and we get out of this bear market and there's no longer this crypto winter, I honestly think Radix could be poised to be in a really, really prime position, because especially when I think the macroeconomics aren't going to turn around until probably another year and a half, 2 years to start to go up on the uptrend, just because of everything that's still going on. Inflation is still crazy. The reserve banks are still pumping up interest rates. And so there's still a lot of question marks, but things usually turn around, and it usually the downward trend lasts for usually like 1.5 years, 2-3 years. And then it starts slowly coming upwards. And then once it gets up, and then it starts to go parabolic. And so I think Radix is kind of primed to be in that almost perfectly. So I'm really excited about that personally.
Let's hope that 4-year cycle does indeed repeat, right? Because the SEC is really trying hard not to make it so. So we wait and see what happens. I think just Radix is definitely positioning itself well. So that's all you can do.
No, absolutely.
We'll see also. I think next halvening is 2024, right? So that's already pretty close.
Exactly. I mean, we're supposed to be sending people to the moon in 2024, like literally, right? The United States, at least. I think Elon's trying to do another trip to the moon here in the next couple of years. So hopefully that can start signaling next moon cycle, right?
So the Artemis program, how's that going? Yeah, no, indeed.
Exactly.
Is
I
it
don't know. It blew
2024?
up.
First people to the moon?
The what?
Is it 2024? People to the moon?
I think this
First?
one it was
Because I
scheduled.
think
It's probably gotten kicked back.
because they will go with Starship, right? The human
Yeah.
lander system, Starship.
Yeah.
And I don't think Starship is ready to
No.
at the moment.
It just blew. Didn't it just
They had
blow
this,
up like a month ago or something?
Well, they did a test launch and they got really good data. They got pretty far, right? So good test.
Yeah.
But they didn't meet they didn't finish the entire thing because they lost too many engines, essentially.
That's
And
interesting.
they dug a big hole in the ground too, so they now have to fix some stuff before they can try again, as well as convince the FAA that it's a good idea to grant them another license.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's see.
That's cool though. I mean,
I really
go for it.
so I really do think that Elon Musk is on the right path there too. Yeah, so he's Tesla as well. It's just crazy what this guy's doing.
Oh yeah.
I'm an engineer, right? And I can
Yeah.
just look at this guy and think, oh, my goodness, this a lot of respect for this guy. He's just so much energy and fundamental. The way that he thinks is just you approach everything from physics, first principles, and you see what can be done, what cannot be done, and then if it can be done, then why is it not happening? What do we need to do to make it happen anyway? And then just work stupid hours to get it done, right? So I don't have that tolerance for pain or sleep deprivation or I don't know how he does it, but I cannot, right? So I have a family and
I like it.
I do need sleep. Yeah, it's
You do
just
need sleep.
at some point.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how we sent people to the moon, 50 years ago now, and then we forgot how to do it, right? And so, or at least make it cheaper. And so it's
it's not so much we forgot how to do it, but we no longer have the kit, right? So the engines, we just don't have them anymore, and the hardware, right? So we neglected it, and of course, we shut down all the plans, and there's no reason to go back. So, but now they're rebuilding that in a rapid. At great speed and with much nicer engines, much higher efficiency, and it's also more powerful with the super heavy booster. It's really insane if you compare it to the Saturn V, which was already a beast.
Yeah. That's cool. So when do you think we'll get to the moon?
I don't really know. Soon.
This decade?
This decade for
This
sure.
decade. Cool.
I also the real question is, when do we get to Mars? I think, as well as when would we start doing some useful stuff, either on the moon or in space. Yeah, so space manufacturing or asteroid mining or
How does that work?
This question, of course.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, I mean that could be a thing. Sure, yeah.
How does that
just
work
could be
exactly?
A thing. That's kind of the value proposition, right? For space flight, asteroid mining, and space manufacturing. So I haven't engineered that myself, but I imagine you go to an asteroid, you take pieces of it, and you take it back to whatever place you need to
Build stuff?
Refine that or process that into products. Yeah.
That's cool.
But there's quite some cool stuff out there, when you go to asteroids. I mean, platinum and gold and all this stuff is just floating around in space. So you don't go for the rock, you go for the interesting
the metals. Cool. Awesome. So we're coming up on about 45 minutes here. I did want to ask you one question that I usually kind of leave everyone with is, if you have one message to kind of give to the viewers, the listeners out there, to that you could convey across, what would it be? Just like one kind of type of thing. It can be anything. It can be, hey, work hard, or hey, go outside and explore. Just anything that you kind of attribute to your success and what you are in life and kind of what you've done. Like, what would that kind of message be?
Yeah. So okay. I will keep it away from Radix, and
Sure.
Of course, the easy one is yours. Put your liquidity on DefiPlaza, right? Okay.
Exactly.
But seriously, I would say make sure that you're up to speed on AI.
Okay.
That's definitely what I would recommend anyone and everyone to do. Yeah, because although we just discussed spaceflight, which is super interesting and very exciting, how rapid the development is, but AI is that is absolutely insane what's happening right now, and there's a whole tsunami of innovation happening, and it will have an impact on our society that I don't think we quite understand yet at this time. Yeah, so definitely don't find yourself at the wrong end of that.
Yeah,
that would be my advice. Yeah, so
you say keep up the speed. When you say wrong end, you mean in terms of your job, in terms of kind of what's going on? What do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, so it's hard to predict what will happen, but we can definitely see that there are some things which are more amenable to automation through AI than other things, right? So if you are now making a choice, do I become an artist or do I not become an artist, right? Or a graphical designer, right? I think that's going to be really difficult to really make money in, especially if you do not use AI, right? So I mean, that it's going to change. It's not going to go away, right? It's going to be much more efficient. We don't know how it will change, but for example, IBM announced that they're going to downsize, so they're going to cut headcount by about 8,000. Yeah, so almost 8,000.
Oh wow.
In what they say is functions such as HR, right? So I mean, back office stuff, administrative stuff.
Oh wow.
It's not they're not firing 8,000 people, but they're just not replacing them when they leave, right? It's not today, it's over the next 5 years, right? But still, so that's not an insignificant thing. That means that they believe that they can automate, roughly 8,000 FTE worth of work with digital agents that are coming. Yeah.
Wow. And that's predominantly in administrative work, HR work, you said?
Yeah, I mean that's what just quoting them, right?
So I was just curious about the IBM thing. Yeah.
So I don't know what their work processes are that they have in the business, but I imagine that things that are easily described, like very regular work, right? Digital, so robots are a bit further away, right? So what is definitely safe from automation right now is anything physical, like construction or just plumbers or whatever, but also for that, robots are coming, but bit further down the road. But anything that is on a computer, right? At the moment, if it's very regular work, then quite likely that that will be, you will be finding yourself competing with an AI, and yeah,
That's gonna be tough.
good luck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's but if you do that kind of work and you know how to deploy an AI and how to use AI to speed up your results, right? Then I think you position yourself well in that regard. So make sure that you understand AI and know how to use the basic versions of it, right? So like ChatGPT, and dig a little bit deeper, right? So because we can easily open the website and just engage with it.
Yeah.
But there's lots of resources on how to engage with it to make the output of it much higher quality than if you just naively type to it. Yeah. So you can give it some good hints and of how to behave, and you'll get really good results. So yeah, so that would be my advice, right? Do not sleep on AI, and and be aware that change is coming, and we don't know what it will look like, but the only thing that I would predict is it's going to be big. It's going to be really big.
It's going to be really big. That makes sense. I mean, that's what because I've been messing around with ChatGPT for, I don't know, like 5 months now. And I actually use it at work once in a while. And it's exactly what you just said. Because like I'm a lawyer, right? And I do some litigation, do some contracts, but like a lot of it's reading and writing, And so AI can read and write way faster than I can read and write, And so it's one of those things that I'm starting to be like, okay, well, I better figure out how to use this thing because it has all the knowledge base in the world, and I just don't. So it is definitely something that I've personally been aware of, and I think that's good advice.
Yeah, it's going to go really quickly also, right? So the original ChatGPT, I don't know if you're using the free version or the paid version.
I have
the original ChatGPT. Yeah, so the original one to the paid version, which is based on GPT-4 that they released earlier this year. The difference in quality of output on advanced domains like law, right, is huge. So GPT-4 can pass the bar, right?
Yeah.
Which is insane, which is absolutely insane. And definitely use it or be displaced by it, or definitely be displaced by people who do use it, right? So that's that's gonna happen. I use it as well for coding. It's just you can just ask it, hey, if your compiler spits out an error, you can throw in the error and say, help me resolve this, and it says, oh, you missed this and that, and and it's it takes the code and it just rewrites it and it works, right? So that's where we are now. As well as you can give it code and say, okay, can you reformat it to make it look professional, and add some documentation and comments, and the most ugly code comes out looking like it was written by a world-class programmer. It's
incredible.
It's really different times. It's different times. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, hey.
Yeah.
I think it's wild, and honestly, this conversation has been great. I do have to hop on a call here for some work, but Jazzer, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thanks for coming on, man. I'll have to have you on again sometime in the future after Babylon, see how all that goes. And I think that'll be really cool, because I feel like we'll have even more to chat about then, because then we'll have some use cases that's been kind of around,
Yeah, and so for sure, right? So maybe, okay, yeah. Look forward to that.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Have a great day. Thanks for the invite.
Hey.
And
Hope you all enjoyed the show. Please help support my channel by smashing the like button and hitting subscribe. Have a great day, and see you next time on Towards the Storm.